Welcome, everybody, to the Pub Sports Radio Baseball Show. My name is Jose Bouquet, and this is a special show. I don't do many of these often now, but this book definitely caught my eye. I've got a guest with me, my guy, Greg Larson, author of Clubbie, a minor league memoir, a minor league baseball memoir, if we're going to be specific here. Greg, how are you doing?
Excellent, Jose. Thanks for having me, dude.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me, of course. Like I said before, we have a lot in common. I think obviously we'll get into your life as a clubby or as my Dominican brothers will say the clubby in
Sure.
the clubhouse. I was a minor league of baseball bat boy for a year. I was a bat boy for the missions. Now you mentioned my hat. This is our flying chanclas because yeah, this is a sandal. Yeah, flying sandal. So I got the hat for free. Shout out to them. And I'm also wearing my team issued shorts too. That's a the big must,
Oh yeah.
uh, of course. But it was an interesting time for me being a bat boy. I was very bad. I was a very shitty bat boy. I'll
Now,
admit it. I'll
how
tell
do,
you.
how do you even be a bad bat boy?
Well, see, here's the story. I'll tell you the story of my first game. It was the first game of the season. I have been around minor league baseball all of my life, and I'll expound about that in here in a second. But first pitch, guy ropes a single to through the middle, and I'm just sitting there in the away clubhouse, and I'm just like, wow, I'm right here. I'm just like staring, and then next thing I just see the bat just like fly towards me, and the umpire throwing it to me. I was like, oh shit, that's kind of my job. I have to go get the bats and stuff. So
Yeah.
I was in fact a shitty bat boy, but I could connect with some players and we got some laughs. So it was a good time.
But you must have improved after that. You must have
Oh,
realized, okay, I'm not just here to
yeah.
watch a game.
Yeah. I got better, but there was definitely like I got yelled at plenty of times throughout the year, and I was like, you know what? I very much enjoy the baseball life, but yeah, I just don't think being a bat boy is for me, you know. And it
Yeah.
seems like the clubby life was a tough one for you. I mean, it's it's a grind. It's an absolute grind, and I'm going to ask you about it here. But let's start off first, real basic. For the people that don't know, maybe you aren't a big baseball head and you're watching this show. What exactly is a clubby, Greg? Please enlighten
A,
everyone.
yeah, a clubby is like one level above a bat boy. A clubby, it's like a term of endearment for a clubhouse attendant or clubhouse manager. Basically, I was the team mom, so I'd do anything and everything that would have to be take care of the clubhouse. The same way a bat boy has to take care of everything in the dugout and on the on deck circle and around home plate. I did that except inside the clubhouse. So laundry, food, tobacco runs, beer, anything
Yeah.
and everything.
Yep, I've been on the tobacco run myself. It's a great time. It's a good
Yeah.
time. My first time, I was like 18. I told the attendants like, "Yeah, I'm buying all this. This isn't even for me." And the attendants kind of gave me like a weird look. So,
Yeah.
like I said, Greg, I was not good at being a bat boy. Many aspects of it, I was just not equipped. But it was a great time. Let's talk about you first as well. Apparently, word on the
Sure.
street is Greg that you're a funny guy. You're a stand-up comic in Austin, huh?
Yeah, I do some stand-up comedy here and there. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm an open micer, so like, I'm not
Okay.
gonna be doing a bunch of, like Joe Rogan Experience podcasts or anything like that. But I mean, I grind it out in the open mic circuit every once in a while, which is usually proof of not being funny. But then, I mean, if you've ever been to open mic stand-up comedy, it's the least funny environment you'll ever be in your entire life.
Okay, yeah. So I've never been, and now I'm very excited to go, Greg, because now, since you're on the show, we're obviously now close personal friends. I
That's
will
right.
be attending something of yours, and it will be very exciting. So I cannot wait for that.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
so Greg, I wanted to ask you this question because you said team mom. You know, that's kind of how I explained a clubby to my girlfriend. Actually, it's like it's just a player helper. You know, whatever the player might need, you're there to help them. Would you say that a clubby is a popular figure in a clubhouse?
That's an interesting question. It's how to put it. I'm like, I need everybody in the clubhouse needs the clubby, but at the same time, the clubby is where all the if shit goes wrong, the clubby is the first person to look to as the whipping boy. So popular guy, I'm definitely everywhere. I'm very ubiquitous in the clubhouse, and if I'm, I mean, for example, we had Brian Roberts, all-star second baseman, come through and do a rehab stint with us. And like, as you know, if a major leaguer comes through and does a rehab stint, they're buying the post-game spread. And that is like, that's a huge deal, as you know, because you're not getting the standard leftover hot dogs, leftover concession stand crapola. So when Brian Roberts came and did a rehab stint with us, everybody was asking me like, "Hey, what's the post game spread gonna be? What's the post game spread?" I was like, "It's Applebee's, dudes." And Applebee's, I mean, that may as well be like 4-course
Yeah.
Michelin star fine dining in a minor league baseball clubhouse. So days like that, where I have some secret knowledge that nobody else has, yeah, I'm the most popular guy in the clubhouse. But if the laundry is late, or if I run out of baseballs and the bat boy comes to me saying like, "Hey, we ran out of 6 dozen baseballs," all of a sudden, everything is on my shoulders. So it's a pendulum swing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty nuts too. I think my favorite part about it is, or I guess the complaint is, oh, this is recorded as an error. Well, I need that to be a hit. Let's go talk to the clubby. The clubby knows. We'll get the clubby to change it or whatever. And that's like the first line of complaints that I saw. And I thought it was always the funniest thing when players complain. Like they'll complain to a coach, and then the coach will go to the clubby, and then it would just keep going up the chain of command. It was so funny to me.
Interesting. Of all the things I had, nobody ever came to me for scoring changes. What level were you at?
I was in the missions are double A. So yeah, I was
Gotcha.
here. I was here. It was a short time ago. My claim to fame. I had a Salvador Perez. I was the away club or the away bat boy most of the time because they didn't trust me with the home guys, obviously. But I was the clubhouse or the bat boy when Salvador Perez came and rehabbed when he slipped and tore his ACL a couple years ago, and he catered Chipotle, and I remember that was like, wow, this is the best day of the year for these guys. Like I just remember
For
that being
sure.
like so shocking. Like I'll always remember he tipped me $100, and I was like, that was like the moment of my like year, and I was like, he gave me $100 like it was absolutely nothing. And that was one of the things that I'll always remember about that stuff.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
let's get into the I guess the less glamorous side of minor league baseball. I like I told you, I've been in minor league baseball all my life. I grew up in Salem, Virginia, or in Roanoke, Virginia, or their sister
Oh.
cities essentially, and the Salem Red Sox are there. So I'm a Red Sox fan too. So I've been a head for baseball head for a while, and my parents used to be I guess like you termed it a host family. They would just help
Yeah.
all the Venezuelan players with whatever they need, like hey, let's learn how to pronounce this so I can go order this kind of food, or hey, I need to get set up with Wi-Fi, how do we do that, and stuff like that.
That's a
we
big
I,
help for those dudes because a lot of those guys,
exactly
they don't have any helping hand coming into this country. Don't speak the language,
exactly
don't know how to deal with the finances, so they need people like that.
Exactly, which is now like I at the time I didn't even I was like a kid just running around just like, oh cool, this is a baseball player. I wonder why is he in my house? I don't know. So just
Right.
just talking BSing with them when as a kid. Now you look back and realize like, oh, like this is like all this stuff that we were like low key doing, and stuff that still needs to be done, which is crazy to think about. I have a good friend of mine in the Astro system. And he tells me he makes like $500 like a week, maybe like something like that. Like if you
Yep.
just scrounge up all your money together, and we've talked, and the theory of unionizing the minor leagues has been a thing. I just wanted to start off this, Greg. I mean, we've talked about all this, the money disparity. What would you do? Let's wave a magic wand. Let's try to fix minor league baseball. Let's. What are we starting with?
It's an interesting question because, like last year, before the contraction happened, so for the fans who don't know, 40 teams were wiped off the map. Most of them low level single A teams, including the entire New York Penn League, which was the league that I was working in with the Aberdeen Ironbirds. So entire leagues were wiped off the map, entire teams were wiped off the map, and then lo and behold, Major League Baseball increased those guys' salaries by 38 to 72%. Honestly, a lot of fans probably have a lot of problems with that. I think that was the right move. I think Major League Baseball was not willing to take care of all those players at like a reasonable pay wage. So getting rid of some of those teams is probably the right move. Right now, after that, I mean, there's still the players. Look, there's like way too much risk to unionize. If those guys unionize, if they're not high prospects, see ya. Like you're just gonna get cut. There's so many other guys waiting in line to go be in that same position as you are. But there's an organization called Advocates for Minor Leaguers that's like trying to incentivize those guys to unionize. I think that would be the biggest. That would be the biggest positive change. Would be those players unionizing themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it could happen, that would be awesome. If you're watching the stream and see me crying right now, guys, it's just my allergies. I know minor league baseball is emotional, it hits me right in the heart, but it doesn't hit me that much. But let's keep talking about baseball. I think, and it's funny, we talk about this, and I've seen figures thrown out here. I think it's a thing baseball could, revamp, pay minor leaguers a decent salary, a living wage, if we really want to go there, above minimum wage, with only a couple $1 million from each club, which
Right.
seems, that's pennies to them. But whenever collective bargaining comes to the table, minor leaguers are just thrown under the bus. I mean, I know that why, but I guess I'd like to know your thoughts. Why do you think they're thrown under the bus like this? And then is something ever going to be done? Or are we just going to continue just knocking on this door, trying to support minor league baseball and however we can do it?
Yeah. So why are minor leaguers thrown under the bus when it comes to collective bargaining? So when the major leaguers first unionized with Marvin Miller in the middle of the 20th century, there was so much disparity. The arguments were between veteran players and rookies that it was hard enough just to get them to come together to collectively bargain as part of a single union. So getting minor leaguers involved back when there were over 200 teams was just it would have completely ruined what wound up becoming the most powerful players union in the country and maybe the most powerful workers union in the world, the Major League Baseball Players Association. So ever since then, minor leaguers just haven't been part of collective bargaining, as opposed to something like hockey, where minor leaguers are a part of the collective bargaining, and lo and behold, they get paid livable wages, they get furnished housing, they are way better taken care of than minor league baseball players. So is anything ever going to change? I mean, it would have to go to the Supreme Court, because baseball has they have an antitrust exemption that allows them to pay these guys as seasonal workers, even though they have to work all year long just to stay on their skill set. Like I'm no socialist, I'm no communist, I'm none of that. I'm a hardcore fucking libertarian type dude. So I don't think that people should just be given money. But these guys just aren't being compensated for the work that they're doing.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. No, you're right. I mean, I think one of the shocking things that I learned growing up is wow, these guys, they don't get paid all year. What do you do in the off season then? That's just one of those things you don't think about. And on top of that, the Astros, and I believe, I'm not sure if the Orioles did it. I can't remember who now, but they recently just started doing. They started paying for housing for minor leaguers, which definitely helps. But I feel like we're scratching the bottom barrel. That's the bare minimum we should be starting with. It's a good start, but
right.
I could easily see that being a thing that keeps progressing. But it's only a start, like we said. So I think I think your book is very fascinating. We'll get right into it now. Like you said, short season. Single A is the wilderness. It is the wilderness when it comes to minor league baseball. You were just starting there. How did you get into being a clubbie? Because I know I told you, I kind of walked into being a bat boy because I've been around baseball all my life. So how do you walk into being a clubbie?
It was somewhat similar. I mean, it's such a wild west world. Short season single A doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So I grew up wanting to be a major leaguer, and then my senior year of high school, I bat .091 in Elk River, Minnesota as a backup. Yeah, right.
Okay, wait a second. Hold on. Maybe there's some potential we haven't seen yet.
Oh, he's a really slick defender. But no, but I was delusional enough that I was still going to chase that dream. So I went to a Division III school thinking, oh, I'm not, what am I going to get? Scouts for a Division II or Division I school? Not going to happen. I'll go to a Division III school in a place where they can't cut me. And then within 48 hours, I was cut promptly. I mean, it was embarrassing. I remember one time I was playing second base in the preseason workouts, and the right fielder threw a cutoff ball to me, and I was so shook, dude. I was so shook about overthrowing the pitcher from second base that I walked the ball over to him and plopped it into his mitt. Yep. And he looked at me and he said, "Next time, throw it to me." And I was like, yep, I don't belong here. This is over.
I had that moment in high school because I'm not the face of athleticism, but I was a great locker room presence. Let me tell you, I'm a great glue guy, Greg.
Great clubhouse guy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just there to sit and bullshit with everyone in chat. So I had that moment. I guess like I had my moment of the yips. I was playing first base. We go around the horn, throw it back to home from first. I'm left-handed, and the entire practice just sailing balls, just
Yep.
could not do anything. And I was like, "What is going on with me?" After the third ball, my coach is like, "What are you doing?" He starts yelling. I'm like, all right. And then one of my teammates just goes, just throw it as hard as you can. And I just soared it again, just over the fence. I was like, all right, well, maybe baseball just isn't my thing. But I had that moment too. And I think it's so funny that you fall in love with baseball and you still find a way to be a part of it. You found a way being a clubhouse guy. And I think I heard you say this. You wrote the book because there's kind of a sense of guilt along with this because, if you don't know, clubhouse managers do get paid by the players as well. There are clubhouse fees because you do a lot for those guys, equipment, food, all that stuff. And on top of that, they're not getting paid that much, and they have to pay for rent and all that stuff. Can you talk about I guess the pay scale for minor leaguers and for your fees and how that all works, just to give people an understanding? Because like I said, we can talk about how minor league baseball players aren't getting paid, but if you put the math out in front of people's faces, they'll be like, oh, okay, this is how bad it is.
Okay, so I will preface this by saying that the numbers I'm going to give you don't apply this year, and then I'll tell you what the numbers are now. But back when I was a clubbie in 2012, 2013, players were making at my level between $1,200 and $1,250 a month only during the season. So that worked out to getting paid approximately $4,500 per year before taxes and before agent fees. $4,500 per year. I would get paid about 3 times that much because the players would pay me $7 a day in dues. And that $7 in theory was for laundry, food, and more food. And then the real question is, why are professional athletes paying for the food where they have to work? And I see a lot of people coming back and they're like, well, no, who actually gets paid at work? And like, hold on, y'all aren't professional athletes. You're not getting paid to be a world-class athlete. And then what am I feeding them? Leftovers and all that shit. And then why are they paying for their own laundry? None of it made any sense. Thank God. So this year, the dues system has been completely abolished across minor league baseball, which for clubbies, that means they're making minimum wage basically. So clubbies are making way less money, but the players get to pocket more money, which I think is way better for the system. And now the players at single A, they get paid they get paid just over $10,000. Double A is just over $12,000 a year, and Triple A is about $14,700 a year. So it's between $10,000 and $15,000. So still, for some of the best baseball players in the world, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and you just got to think about it. Like you said, I mean, we're not even talking about, let's say you have a trainer. You have to pay your trainer. And you need your bats for this year. You got to pay for all that stuff. And there's just so much stuff that piles on that people don't realize that, like, you probably have to end up paying to play minor league baseball almost.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of multiple guys this summer who have talked about, like, these issues are becoming more like in the consciousness. People are starting to understand what that world is like. Yeah. Multiple guys have come out this summer saying that they're losing money playing baseball, so they had to quit and go somewhere else.
Yeah, no, that's honestly, I would say that's probably a higher percentage of guys retiring minor league baseball. I mean, it's not because they don't love the game. It's because they just can't financially do it anymore. Like, you just have to end up, like we say, just end up getting a real job, I guess, and sell cars or do whatever you got to do. Stand-up comedy, perhaps. Who knows?
Right. I mean, and there's an argument people like, devil's advocate is, who wouldn't want to have that opportunity to chase their dream and to be a professional baseball player, even if you're not getting paid that well? I just think that's such an un-American sentiment. Like, the whole beauty of the game is that it's this microcosm of the American dream. Even if, like, shit in our country is still fucked up like it's always been, but, like, chasing after that dream and not being completely taken advantage to go after it. I don't know. People should be compensated for the work they do. I don't know why that's so crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty shocking that that's the thing, like it's happened in baseball and women's soccer. We've had all that arguments for the longest time. So it's pretty nuts to see that we're still doing this, but it's the hamster wheel that we're going to run through. And there's going to be a collective bargaining, I think, after this season. And I can almost guarantee you that none of these issues, they're more in the prominence now, but if we're gonna expect a minor league like reform system to come in the next collective bargaining system, then you're holding your breath for a while. It's might not happen. I really don't see. It takes MLB PA and the MLB a lot to agree on just their stuff. It's so hard to get everyone on the same page, and like you said, so. I have a interesting question for you. I don't know if anyone's asked you this question.
Love it.
Do you like baseball now? After everything that's happened, you've been in it so much. You see the shitty side of it. Do you still like it?
Not really. I mean, quite frankly, like I went to one Twins game. The Twins were my team growing up. I went to one Twins game this year, and I went with my dad. He's a diehard fan, and I was like, "Who's this right fielder?" I didn't know any of the guys, and like that's the only game I've watched this year. I'll watch some Shohei Ohtani highlights if he hits like a home run or something. But like beyond that, I care about the individual players, like guys who used to be on the teams that I worked for. But beyond that, like who's winning who's the box score, the standings, I could not give less of a shit right now at this point in my life. Maybe when I have a kid, I'll care again. But I just realized that that's not my relationship with the game anymore. My relationship with the game is the people in it.
Yeah, no, it's when you're in it, it really just starts fading away, and you see all the guys that you've seen before, and it's pretty interesting. I feel the same way. Tatis was in the minor league system when I was there, and he was like the big shit, and I just walking around and seeing him, and now seeing him just being like the face of baseball is just crazy. But it's not even him. Like I'll have like a Josh Naylor, for example. He played in the minor league system when I was there. A chubby outfielder who really when you look at him, you don't see anything remarkable, but hits 350 throughout his whole minor league career, and then gets traded and now plays for the Indians or for the Cleveland football team, whatever we're calling them now. So Greg, now let's talk about where you are now, because you wrote the book. This was you thought this book, you were doing your whole Jim Bouton thing. Everyone's made that joke to you. It's worn out, whatever. Where are we at now? You're a stand-up comic here in Austin. You don't like baseball anymore, and I don't blame you. Where are we going now?
So a lot of people think that I am a clubbie who wrote a book, but I am an author who just happened to be a clubbie one time. And so I'm working on, I'll even show you just a quick flash. I'm working on my next book, writing it on a series of legal pads. And
that's official. That's really official right there. Yeah.
It's my first novel, and it's a love story that I won't go into too many details on, but I'm about 40% of the way through. My goal is to finish it by the end of this year, and next year maybe have my my next book out.
What's this is now just me being curious. What's the writing process for you with writing this book? I know you take your notes at the end of the day and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, how long did it take you to write this? And how far, I guess you said 40%, how far and how different has the process been now with this different book?
Yeah, it's so different. With Clubbie, like you said, I had a ton of notes from lived experience. I had like 300 pages of notes at the end of my second year. And so with that, I was like going back through, I could go back and find facts, especially with baseball. Everything is so cataloged. I could go back to old stats. I could go back to game recaps, go back to my journals, go back to old interviews in the Baltimore Sun. And so, with that process, at some points, I would just be in the microfilm room of my university library looking at old newspaper clippings. With this book, I am legit just flying. With fiction, anything is possible, so I'm flying blind. My goal is to handwrite 2 pages per day. And I know what the ending is, or at least I think I know what the ending is, and I'm just trying to discover how to get there. With Clubbie, I tried writing it as an expose, and then I realized that was boring, and so it became more of like a memoir.
Yeah.
So it's pretty different.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, I think I imagine you, after the games, you just scrubbing all the shoes and whatnot. You do all the laundry while you're in there and waiting for the laundry. You go into your little equipment closet, you throw a blanket over top of you, and you just start typing away. Is that basically what it was like?
That's you pretty much nailed it, dude. That's almost exactly it.
That's funny. So here's a more clubby question. What was the least favorite part about being the clubby? And how are your cooking skills, by the way?
My cooking skills. I cannot cut up a watermelon without having flashbacks to being a clubby. I'll say that.
Yeah,
My cooking
absolutely.
skills are. I'm not going to disparage myself. I'm a 6.5 out of 10. I made homemade salsa, so I can't be that bad.
Okay.
But the worst part about being a clubby was the realization that I just wanted each game to pass, and realizing that my relationship to the game was never going to be the same. Some ways for the better, but in some ways for the worse, where an out is an out, and I just wanted it to be over. That was pretty rough. Staying up until 4 a.m., sometimes staying up all night doing
Yeah,
laundry, dude. Like, that world.
that's the
It's not
worst.
easy.
That was easily my least favorite part. Like I when I go to minor league baseball games now, I've been scarred, Greg. I want to tell you this now. I'm here are my wounds. When I go
Yep.
to a minor league baseball game, I just strictly look at everyone's shoes. I look at how
Dude,
dirty and muddy everyone's shoes are because I'm like, oh
for
my god,
real.
I just can't imagine just a scrubbing. Just I just hear it in my head, just scrubbing cleats. That's all I hear when I go to sleep at night now, Greg.
So
It's
you
scary.
you were at a decent, you were at a double A level where that was part of the expectation. Short season single A, chaos, dude. Nobody expects their cleats to be scrubbed. So I got off clean on that one.
Okay.
I see the
Yeah.
dirty pants. That's what I see.
Yeah, dirty pants are it's just traumatizing. Grass stains. Like I
Ooh.
just feel bad, just so bad because you never know what kind of washing machine they've got down there too. You really gotta just work those through those stains too. But the shoes were the worst. Scrubbing shoes was just such a pain in the ass to me. But they had nice shoes, so can't complain.
Oh yeah.
Cannot complain. All right, so I'll leave you with this one, Greg, because I've enjoyed talking to you, and you've worked through these technical difficulties, these power flickers that we're having, and I appreciate it. Um, you said you were a Twins fan. You don't watch baseball anymore. I want to ask you, who was your guy growing up? Who is the guy you're watching, you're imitating when you're hitting 091 in high school? By the way, my career stat line for high school baseball was 1 run. That was it. I got the pinch run once at third, not a big deal, whatever.
My dude.
But who was your guy growing up? Who did you emulate, and who did you like watching?
By the way, you're batting 1,000 as far as pinch running goes, so
Oh yeah,
that's
no,
nothing to sneeze at.
yeah, absolutely 0 ERA.
So there are two. My favorite player was Matthew LeCroy, this backup catcher for the
What a
Minnesota
name!
Twins.
What a
I
name! That's a pull.
know, dude. He would hit dingers and he would strike out, and he was just a big old dude. He looked like a beer league softball player, and I just fucking love that. And but I didn't try to emulate him. The man I tried to emulate was Torrey Hunter. Just like
Of course.
diving for everything, banging into walls in the outfield. He was at that time a way more inconsistent hitter early on in his career, and I just loved like how streaky he was for some reason, but then how consistent he was in the field. That was my dude, Torrey Hunter and Matt LeCroy.
Man, Torrey Hunter. I have a special relationship with Torrey Hunter. Like I said, I'm a Red Sox fan, so my image of Torrey Hunter is him flipping over a
Falling
wall at
over that
Fenway
fence.
Park. Yes, that
Yep.
is my favorite image of him, and I appreciate it. I'm a big Torrey Hunter guy, so I also appreciate you, Greg. So I'd love for you to plug your book. Maybe if you got a stand up here, maybe you got an open mic there, like you said. Let the people know where people can find you because this is a great book. More people need to read it. More people need to know about how shitty minor league baseball is, frankly, because when you see those stories of your 10-year minor leaguer going up to the majors, that's a big deal. That is a really big deal. So please let the people know.
For sure. Minor league baseball is as amazing as it is awful. I will say that. That
That
dichotomy
is
is what
true
makes it so
also.
interesting. So People can find the book at clubbiebook.com, Clubbie book.com. And I have a ton of extra content there too. I have videos. I have interviews with some of the characters in the book, interviews with advocates for minor leaguers. I have blog posts, deleted scenes, anything you want up there, signed copies. You can find all of it at clubbiebook.com.
Signed copies. Can you, Greg? If I ever get a signed copy, I want it signed with a 091, or I believe that was the number 091
That's
next
exactly
to
the
it.
number.
Thank
Of
you. Good.
course.
I can't wait. Greg, this was fun. It was a fun conversation. Anytime I get to talk minor league baseball with someone, it's a good time, and I can't wait to like I said, we're now close personal friends since we've done this show. We've experienced some technical difficulties together too, so that even brought us closer. So now I'll be your biggest fan at your stand-up comedy, and I'll be pumping your book out a lot because I enjoyed it very much.
Appreciate you, Jose. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you guys next time. It was a great time. Catch us all next on Pub Sports Radio.